Okay, August 1st. Hello everybody. And of course my sump tank. And critters. You might notice that the water level is very low. And that's because I don't really use glue on a lot of stuff unless I'm forced to. Mainly the pressure side of this pump discharge. And I also glued the pipes going in this grow bed, that grow bed, the discharge from here going into those two white ones. Because it went underneath those grow beds. And I thought it would be really difficult if I had to get in there and try and tighten anything up, because it was all underneath everything. Big mess. So I glued that. Anyway, a lot of this stuff leaks. You can see this moist dirt here. It's coming from somewhere, and you know, probably yeah, I can feel it. It's right here on this backside. So I could glue it, but I don't know. I don't really like the gluing idea if everything will just fit together. And I think the biofilm kind of fills in the leaks over time anyway. That's what I keep telling myself. Anyway, I'll be adding water here shortly. That's how shallow it is. And there's my other sump tank. You can see the top. The white pipe here, 1.5 inches, has been exposed. And a little bit of water is flowing in. But not much. And really it'd be better if the pump was over there, but I already moved my critters over there, so I didn't want to move them back, but they all died, so maybe I will move them back. Okay. Now I will be adding water. I'm going to be adding water from this sump tank. Or it's not really a sump tank. This is the nutrient reclamation tub. And I let it go anaerobic for 4 days, anaerobic, and I stirred it from time to time. And this time I did something special, which was as the pH approached 7 or going down towards acid or acidic, I added calcium carbonate, and then I added some trace nutrient stuff, which is it's like powdered clay, molinmorite or something like that, and that got the pH up pretty good. Or no, actually I found that I thought the pH didn't go up, but actually that clay takes a little while, it seems like, and then it takes it way up. So when I didn't get an immediate pH increase after adding the clay and stirring it, then I added 5 capfuls of potassium carbonate, and then I stirred it, and wow, I measured the pH afterwards, and it basically pegged my pH meter at 9.9, and I think the scale goes to 10, but I'm not sure, but and then 9.9, and I haven't taken a reading today, but the reading this morning was 8.6, so that's how much it's gone down in a couple of days. And then last night I did a test on my phosphate levels and ammonia, and my ammonia was up to 8 parts per million. No nitrates, and I thought the phosphate levels had gone down compared to the before I added all the clay and the calcium carbonate and stuff. Now the reason I added that was because I understand that when the anaerobic bacteria are in a pH that's like 8-ish, then they will use, then there's stuff available for them to let's see, I forget how it goes, but I think it's so that the calcium carbonate, the bacteria use up the carbonate, and they liberate the carbon, creating carbon dioxide maybe, and then the instead, but if it goes acid, it's going to be removing, it's going to be, okay, it'll take sulfates out, and produce hydrogen sulfate or sulfite. I don't know, the gas, that's stinky. So anyway, and it seemed to work. And so what I've got in here right now is like grass and stuff, plus all the old feedstock. It really seems like it's disappearing, all the crap I've got in there. And I've never taken out solids, and I net the discharge here. So any solids that come through, they get put right back into the tank. So I kept the pH up on this one, and then it seemed like that made my phosphate levels go down over a couple of days. I think it's because the bacteria were multiplying. So there's a big thread on Backyard Aquaponics by a guy named Cookie, and he seems to know what he's doing, or he definitely has pointed me in this direction. But he's about composting fish waste, and this is about garden waste. So I'm not sure if the same thing applies. I think it does. It's basically just the ratio of carbon to nitrogen and anaerobic versus aerobic bacteria. Okay, so enough about that. After a couple more days, this is going to be done, I think. And I'm not sure how to test. Oh, because I'll check that the ammonia has gone down to 0. Maybe the nitrates have gone up, or the nitrogen has been gassed off and there will be no nitrates, because it goes from nitrate to nitrous oxide, I think, and then that gas is off. And then I'll let it sit for a couple hours or an hour, no air. This is air going in right now. No air, and then I'll open the valve and drain the water down, and I will drain all this water all the way to the bottom, as much as I can, and it's draining from the bottom, so there is some crap that comes through, but I catch it with the net. So then it goes in here, where it mixes, goes up to the fish tank. The water that comes out of this, kind of blurry, I would say. It's got a lot of real fine solids in it, but not like fine dust or sand, but kind of like bits of leaf that have been mostly digested, and there's just a little bit of membrane left floating around, kind of like a ghost of a portion of a leaf, and really, really small, like a 1/4 inch or less. And so that goes into the pumps it, no problem, to the fish tank. The fish seem to have no problem with it. It goes through the filter. Some of it gets filtered out. Some of it comes down to the grow beds, and I guess it feeds the worms. It's in a pretty advanced state of decomposition. The only thing I'd be worried about, I guess, would be the solids. If I was too much going into the bed, which I'm not worried about so much. Well, maybe. But is biological oxygen demand. Then my grow bed goes anaerobic, and I don't want that happening. But I've got air going into the bottom of that grow bed and the bottom of that grow bed, I think. And so that should stop that from happening. So, onto the plants. Cherry tomatoes. And I pulled that cucumber plant up. And hopefully it'll climb, you know, on this trellis. You can see the baby cherry tomatoes right there. Lots and lots of flowers. Okay. These are some in-pot tomatoes. I don't know who put these here. They're not mine. My loganberry. And that one started putting off secondary canes or something. I don't know. There were some canes that came down here, and then there was another set of canes that they're growing that way. Cucumber, bell peppers, bell pepper, poblano pepper. I think there's a habanero pepper in there, and tomatoes basically. Oh, cool, a cucumber. So that's a good sized cuke. I could harvest that. I probably will. And that little cuke has not grown as much as I thought it would have. But I think some of these plants are experiencing nutrient lockout because of the high pH. I think my system's running at like 8.6 right now, which is kind of high. And I think that's from the new bricks that I put into the sump tanks for my critters. Okay, and now that's the big tomato plant. And what I did is, every time this tomato plant starts getting a leg up, I just go ahead and put that board on it. And I'm not smashing it or anything, just a light weight. But of course it can't hold up against that board, so it holds it down. And so now I've got stuff growing through that trellis down below. Of course, stuff going up top. There's my orange tree, which is seems to be doing okay. All right, we got water in the. That's a little spy tube, so we can see where the water level's at and make sure that that siphon is happening, that the water's going up and going out. And right now it is looks like it's coming up. Or it could be stuck at steady state. With my luck, that's probably what's happening. But is it a problem? Well, maybe. If it sits with water in here for a while, then at the bottom of the tank, maybe there are anaerobic areas starting to form. Whereas with a proper flush and drain, it's always in, out, and it's breathing and getting oxygen down into the media. So yeah, looks like it's not going. I wonder why. Oh well. Overall, orange tree seems to be doing good and is a host to many little spider webs. There's jumping spiders all over these plants. Okay, my salmon berries getting shaded out, but my cucumbers are doing good. And that is not a happy pot plant. Sad, sad, sad. Potassium, maybe? Maybe phosphorus. My snapdragon started wilting last week, and I don't know why. But all the flowers are blooming on it now. It's very pretty. Cucumber. Blackberry, and of course I'm probably going to end up with some grass in these beds. And here are those little arugulas growing up all across here. Boom, 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 up into the cilantro, which has gone to seed, and hopefully put that seed down into the media below it. And same with those stragglers. The raspberry plant is very tall. So tall now it's starting to lean over. And this little guy is doing good too. There's raspberry that way. And a new one. 2 lemon cucumbers, or 3. Newly planted, I mean. And the peas are doing okay. Actually, it looks like the peas are running over to the raspberries to get their elevation. Maybe that'll work. Maybe I'll tie it back to the trellis here. Alright. New little pumpkins. And some good sized, growing sized pumpkins. Oof, little. Oh, there's someone's taking a bite. Well, that's okay. There's probably still going to be plenty for me. And these plants are saying deficiency. I think it's a pH thing, just too high. But at least I'm not hurting for calcium anymore. But that kind of uncontrolled release into the water is not really desirable, I think. I need to get some old bricks that have already cured. Squash. Squash. Actually, it's like stuck squash. Can I? Yeah. Let's try and shift it. Oh, the whole plant was resting on that damn squash. Okay, I'm not gonna mess with it. Sorry, squash. Alright. Blackberries. Lots and lots of green berries, but you know what I don't see is any ripe berries. There's another pumpkin in there. Oh, well, there we go. I gotta eat my words, because there are some berries right there that are starting to ripen. And they, oh nice, look at that. That's like pale ruby color. Nice. And when they're ripe, they'll be a dark purple black color. So that pot plant is sad for several reasons, but this one is his bro that I planted at the same time. Only difference, same water. He's actually crowded a little bit more, but he's in the gravel. He's got to fight a little bit. He's doing alright, I guess. But he's not showing the same deficiencies as his brother, twin, and the other one. And I wonder if that's down to the hydroton. That's the only difference I can see. Different flow rates. Muskmelon. It's growing okay, but it's not really setting fruit. It's putting out flowers, but I don't really see any fruit setting in here. And you know, I almost think it's due to lack of pollination. But, oh, cool. There's one fruit, maybe, that's setting. Strawberries are super happy. Strawberry forest over here. And then we've got the pine berries. And this muskmelon is... There you go. Always trying to take over on these. So we got 1, 2, 3. That one might be one. This one is done. Oh well, I think I got 5. It was a set of 5, so I was gonna lose some. Got kale in here, and I'm not really sure why I left that kale going. I've got there and all the beds I've got, but I think maybe it's a decoy, you know, so the bugs can eat that, and then I don't have to eat it. So on to the fish tank. Here's the fish. They seem happy. I just had to clean out the bottom pipe. It's kind of to get the solids that come down to the bottom, and it has a bunch of slits cut into it by a saw. And those slits got clogged up after 1.5 years of being in operation. So I cleaned it out and I turned the pipe so that the slits are kind of running vertically on one side here. So hopefully, maybe if there's debris, then it won't clog so easy as sucking right off the bottom. So I don't know, just an idea. Fish seem to be doing well. I've added well, some variety to their diet, and I've been feeding them flakes before, but now I feed them sinking pellets, and the catfish really seem to enjoy that too. You really see them out more. There's the albino one. He's got to be 5-6 inches long, and then the blue channel cats are like stealth, and you can be looking right at them and not see them. It's incredible. Okay, so that's the fish, and here's the filter. I'm thinking about stuffing this with bird netting. Oh, cool. There's a fish in there. I wonder if he wants some food. Oh, there he is. He must have gotten sucked in through the holes in this overflow. Boom, boom, boom. So I've noticed him in there for a few days. Now that he's in there and he's smart enough not to get sucked down the middle, maybe I'll start feeding him in there. And what's the worst that could happen? So that's my situation. The fish are happy, the water's clear and nutrient dense, although it is a little low in the sump tank. And these plants are ripening. Boom, pumpkins, squash, cucumbers, peas, strawberries, orange trees growing, and loganberries, blackberries. Tomatoes are going crazy. The pepper plants over here are doing real well. Cucumbers everywhere are doing happy. And my new trellis is in place. So everything's going well.